I'm Kiwi,
And I'm Jared.
and we are the two gentlemen coming to you like desert rain. Jared, how are you, mate?
Good, good. This is really good. We're 2 weeks running. We're on a streak. I think we're of recordings.
Look, a
we're
1 week streak's good enough for me, mate. But yeah, two, record breaking.
oh man, what a world, eh? Yep. No, we've nailed down each other again for another episode. So I'm pretty pumped.
How have you been, Jared?
Yeah, yeah, not too bad. I've had lots of little things happen to me through the week, so it's good that we get to record because I those little things that happen to you in life where it just makes you wonder like either what that person was thinking or how did I get myself into that spot.
Yeah.
I pulled in to grab a coffee one morning and it was I'm just trying to explain it, but it's like a strip mall shops,
Yep.
and you sort of park your car nose in at an angle. So it's pretty easy in and out, reverse out when you want to go. So I parked in the spot, and next to me was like a Vespa or like a little scooter thing, right?
Yep.
Like a registered, like on the road registered, not an e-bike or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
This thing was taking up the whole car spot, but I'm like, well, it's a registered thing, whatever. Anyway, standing right next to this scooter was this guy, and he had his arms folded, he had a grumpy look on his face, and he's just shaking his head. And he looked at me, and he looked at the scooter, and he sort of gave me this look like I should be disgusted as well. And I'm like, I'm looking at it like, I don't share your anger. Like, what's the problem? Anyway, I sort of get out of the car and just, walk past him, and he's, again, waiting for me to react. And I'm like, oh, there's nothing to react to. And I get my coffee, I come out, and the scooter is moved like out of the spot, but further up to the right into a no sort of stopping point. And I'm like, and here's old mate like brushing his hands like he'd just done a day's work, like
Yeah.
like, did you move the scooter? Like, and he didn't have a car in sight. And this guy's like, and he's looking at me like, yeah, I accomplished that. And I'm
Yeah,
like, I've got
yeah.
nothing to do with this, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Is scooter rage a thing? Like, I didn't think it. I don't know. Like, I mean, I know there's more scooters more closer to the city, and maybe he was, having a bad day. But yeah, I had nothing to do with it. I didn't move the scooter. I just parked next to it. But old mate took it on himself. I mean, he's pretty strong to move it, but bit of rage for no reason on a Tuesday morning or whatever it was.
Yeah. Look, I don't think scooter rage is a thing. I think this guy's rage is definitely a thing.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
older I get, Jared, the more I've realized that some people just get off on being right. Like whatever they think right is, they love
yeah.
it. They love lording it over people like, aha, you've done the wrong thing. I'm going to show you. Man, what happened to live and let live? And
Oh, I
like you
don't
said,
know.
this is a registered vehicle. This wasn't someone's skateboard just taking
No.
up the spot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Like you said, I think he was after some support,
Yeah.
but he didn't get it from me. But yeah, I just happened to pull the car in right next to it, and yeah, he thought I would share his anger. But life's too short, mate, to be angry about where scooters park. I think.
Yeah, especially when it's legal. Like
Yeah,
he doesn't have
exactly.
a leg to stand on, this guy.
Like he's breaking the law doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's a
uh,
real
yeah,
micro, I wouldn't call that a microaggression. That's an aggression. And
yeah.
the person who owned the scooter would feel right to be pretty angry over that, I think. I'd be like, man,
Oh, I
why are
agree.
you targeting me for? Like, I was just
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
what I'm supposed to do.
Parked in a spot.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, how dare you, the scooter?
exactly.
Yeah. He was like, I don't know. Anyway, he was having a bad day, obviously. But yeah, I just happened to pull up next to him and made my Tuesday morning interesting.
Jared, speaking of vehicular crimes, I'm
Mm,
guilty a bit.
no.
So look, it's pretty cold today. You can see how I'm dressed on the webcam. I'm wearing a robe with a
Mm.
polar fleece blanket wrapped around my neck. Not a scarf, but a blanket wrapped around me. I've actually got fluffy socks on. Anyway, this morning I had to go out and get the car for Erica, and
Mm.
I noticed that the fuel gauge was below empty. So
Uh,
I was like, what do I do? Do I leave it to her or do I go and get petrol? And being the hero that I am,
mm.
I went to the petrol station dressed
Oh,
like
wow.
this. I had the
Yeah.
option of paying at the pump or going in store and getting like an extra $1.20 off. I went in, Jared. I went in dressed like this. And I've got bed hair as well. And I thought, no one cares. That's the thing. Like, it's 7:30 in the morning. Why would anyone care that, someone's just escaped from a mental asylum? I mean, that's what I look like, but I think that's okay.
Look, I can partially accept the fact that if I don't see someone dressed like you, my morning isn't complete. Like there's
Yeah,
always somebody who's just rolled out of bed and put on whatever they have to put on. And look, you've got clothes on. That's a bonus. Like there's people
exactly.
like,
Exactly.
it could have been worse. I don't judge. I don't judge, mate. You were doing what you needed to do, and you were quite heroic. In the cold, got yourself out there and hunted and gathered some fuel for your car. Well done, mate.
Thanks, Jared. Thank you. I also want to give Erica a shout out. It's her birthday today, and she started the
Oh,
day with a cold bath. I don't know how cold it is out there, but the water was something like 13 degrees. So to submerge yourself in that, like that's tougher than a cold shower. I still have cold showers occasionally, but yeah, to have a cold
well,
bath pretty much every morning and then to not give yourself a day off on your birthday, that's just committed, like wow. Amazing. Amazing
well,
woman.
happy birthday, Erica. I say this with respect, but that is one crazy move. I tell you. But, congratulations on that. But, happy birthday.
And that's the reason why we will also be wishing her a happy birthday in 50 years because she just keeps herself healthy.
Correct. Mate, speaking of keeping ourselves healthy, I was thinking actually what we could talk about today and something that's sort of going to come up with me soon, and it's I'm going on a little bit of a brocation with one of my mates for a night, just heading off and visiting a couple of places we want to visit in Canberra, which is 3 hours away. And I just, as you book these things without your family, and without, the people that you usually book these things with, you get a bit of a strange feeling.
Mm.
I know, the mate I'm going with has that as well. Like he's like, it's going to be really strange not being, not having to sort of be on it, waiting for someone to ask a question or, like with the kids, looking after the kids and
Yeah,
being on that sort of, on that clock, I guess, or not clock, but you know what I mean? Like
I
you
know
kind of
exactly what you
always
mean.
go, you're always, the go-to if something goes wrong, right, or otherwise. And, we love it. But I guess the awkwardness of that feeling and then experiencing it, like when we go in a couple of weeks, is strange in itself. But what's your thoughts? I guess that's just sort of, I'm just putting it out there. Like there's more to say, but what's your thoughts on the brocation or the girls' trip for your partner, for your wives and stuff like that? Like, what's your thought on that when you're on your own? Is it an act that you think, oh, it's not required, or is it something that I don't know? Just I'd love to delve into it. What are your thoughts are?
Yeah. So the word you didn't use, but I think
Mm.
you were alluding to was selfish. Is it selfish? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah. I
something
didn't
that
want to use it, but yeah,
is
yeah.
that what you were alluding to?
It was definitely what I was trying to allude to. I didn't want to go as harsh as selfish because I don't think it is, but it definitely is for yourself, and
And there could be
and I
fish
can put
involved,
that.
so
Yeah. That's right. But yeah, it definitely was alluding to something along those lines, but I didn't want to be as harsh as
yeah,
that.
and that is a harsh word.
Yeah.
Look, yeah, to me it comes down to cost. And I'm not
Mm.
just talking about the financial cost, but the time cost as well.
Yeah.
So if you've got kids in boarding school
Mm.
and you can go off and do these things, then there's really no cost other than the financial cost. And if you're sending your kids to boarding school, well, I'm sure you can afford a little brocation.
Yeah.
So that's what it comes down to me. I've been on two brocations. They were snow trips. And
Mm.
after the second one, I did feel that, you know what, I can't really do this anymore. I felt
Mm.
that leaving Erica behind with two young kids, and it's not that she can't handle it, but it's more just the idea of me just gallivanting around, doing whatever I want while someone else is taking care of all the responsibility didn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
That was with two young kids. Now we've got two fairly grown up, independent kids. So
Mm.
it is different. But financially, I definitely would feel selfish, spending family money because that's the way I
Yeah.
see our pool of money. It's family money. I'd feel
Yeah.
selfish doing that because we don't have a massive pool of money. Now, if things were different financially, I could probably justify it to myself,
Hmm.
but that's not the case. So at the moment,
Yeah.
I think, you know, having a few mornings to myself, going to jujitsu to me is so indulgent in itself. So I'm happy with
Mm.
that. And I really think it just comes down to the cost, which varies from family to family. So time and responsibility and financial cost.
A lot in there. Yeah, there's a lot to consider in there. And, you know, as you were speaking, there was things coming towards me. So like I've been, I've had the odd night away for work. Like I've had to go and do something in, Newcastle or something like that, where it's just, you need to go and then you need a conference or something, and then it's stay the night and come home sort of thing. So you're not away for a long period, but I do get that sense. So when I'm talking about the time, it affects the kids. Like I think you're always around, then all of a sudden you're not for no real reason for them. Like just oh, I've got to go to work, or in this case, oh, I'm just going away with a friend. I know when I go out for the evening, like if I go and do one of my paranormal things, or help a mate with his event, or or if I'm home later than usual, like the kids ask questions and they're like, "Where's Dad?" Like all that sort of stuff. So it's it plays on my mind that I know that it's affecting them in a way.
Yeah.
And it's also you're trying to teach them that it's okay that but you also want to. It's a really thin line of where you. But ultimately, I do feel that guilt.
Yeah.
I don't know if guilt's the right word. And it's not because the guilt is put onto me by my partner, my wife,
No.
or put onto me by my kids. It's all self. It's all within.
Yep.
And then you turn into that financial thing. You're right, and that all of a sudden you're dropping X amount of dollars to stay somewhere, and then you're buying breakfast and lunch and petrol, whatever. So you're
Yep.
dropping a fair chunk of change. And like we don't have endless amounts of piles of money, and it's you definitely do feel that guilt. I definitely feel the guilt around spending as well, because, and it's all the necessities. You end up not really actually buying anything or doing anything outlandish. You just sort of buying your food and you're getting there and your accommodation, and
Yeah.
think, oh, geez, like that money could have been better spent on something the family could have done. So it's a hard thing to enjoy as well when you're there, like when you're doing something like that. And I think you have that. I usually have that realization, just before I'm going to bed the night or something like that. Like, oh, then you start thinking about
What have I done?
yeah, like we all
Yeah.
do. So yeah, it's because I come from the footy club as we've talked about, and every year we'd have an end of season football trip. So
Yeah.
as the years went on, what I've got to do here at home, it got larger. So when I first started on footy trips, it was just like, oh yeah, I just got to get a couple of days off work and then I'm good.
Yeah. You're a single
And then,
guy, no kids.
yeah. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I've got a girlfriend, I got to make sure that she's okay, and then married, kids, house, and then you start the whole, time away, the family, the money we just talked about. And then the end of season football trips became not fun because it was like,
Yeah.
well, and I saw guys dropping massive amount of money on the early days, and then, as time went on, your commitments at home don't allow you to do that, and you don't want to do that. It's not a don't allow; you just don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So it's I can see all my trips. I think I went on like 15 trips. So
Wow.
over that time, I had all these different commitments at home that have evolved into being a family man, a dad, and a husband. So it's so I'm no stranger to going away for a night or two, but
Yeah.
but it definitely changed as I got older.
Yeah. And you started this conversation off by talking about health. So it sounds like it's important to you for your health,
Mm.
maybe your mental health, to get away, to do things with friends that are
Yeah.
a bit different.
I I believe that. Everyone has different beliefs, but I believe that. So what we talked about just then, prior, you also have to balance it with my belief of like I think it's healthy to have moments to yourself, moments where you still maintain. I don't want to use the word independence but you maintain yourself like the person that you are, and you stay true to yourself, what you like, because it's not realistic for you. You said you like to go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Erica doesn't, right? So it's not fair for you to force that onto her.
Yep.
So I like to go and do paranormal investigation, or I like to, whatever else I like to do, but I don't force that on anyone in my family as well. Um, so for me to maintain interests, I've still got to be able to have that time. But like I said, it's a mental health thing, I think, and it's a healthy thing, I think. Some people may disagree with that, but that's where I've sort of worked through the years.
It sounds like you're talking about having your own identity away from your family, being the Jared that exists within almost like a vacuum. If you didn't have a family, this is who you were, and you want to
Mm.
maintain some part of that, and that's important to your health.
I I would agree with that, I guess. Yeah, without going too. I mean, I'm sure you could go deeper with it, but yeah, I agree on face value with that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important for everyone to have a sense of who they really are, and things will change us. For example, having kids will change you more than anything else I can imagine. And
Yep.
even just being in a relationship, you become the relationship version of yourself.
Yep.
You can't just do everything the way you were doing it before.
Mm-hmm.
That is selfish. It's
Yep.
all about compromising. We're sharing a space together, especially, if you're living with a partner and if you're married and you have kids, of course, you've got a family home. You can't just be that bachelor that you were, where you've got, whatever posters you had on the wall when you were a teenager, which probably wouldn't be a good look with kids around. So, yeah,
Yep.
it's important to try to balance that, and you don't want to lose that sense of who you were in the past either, because that was a fun
Mm.
version of us as
Yep.
well. And yeah, I think if you can find some way of bringing that out, and maybe you do need that brocation to do that, and you need to let your hair
Mm.
down. I love having a few hours to myself when there's no one at home.
Yep.
You can watch whatever you want. I've got the last episode of Cobra Kai ready to
Oh,
go. I haven't watched it. I've been saving it up for that moment. So when I've got the place to myself, got a few
that's
hours.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I don't want to ruin the moment. You know what I mean? It's been
Yeah.
months now since I got up to it.
You light yourself some candles, and
Exactly. I have to do a little kata
make yourself
beforehand,
a cup of
put on my
tea.
gi. Yeah, put on my headband. But, that's part of who I am. And
Yep.
I think it's important to live that still and be honest with yourself and just honor
Mm.
those parts of yourself. That's all.
Yep. And I think there's multiple ways of doing all that, and I think like you said, the word balance. You can't just walk into you know like I said, you're not living that bachelor life where you're sitting on milk crates watching TV. That's all you have in your lounge room. Like so you whilst there's certain things, like you're like, oh, I like this, I like that, or this is a non-negotiable about me, and like so you work together as a unit, and then kids come into the family life, and off you go. But yeah, there's a lot of things around, like you said, oh, I just need that time, or not need, but I'm waiting for that time for that Cobra Kai episode, that time alone. You said we do you do the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I can't say that today. What's wrong with me?
Just say BJJ.
Yeah, you do that, and you really enjoy that. So some guys have an amazing man cave shed where
Yep.
they can have that,
Yep.
you can put up your trophies from when you were a kid, and you can put up you've got your sort of like your sort of bachelor stuff, I guess, for lack of better words, confined into a bit of a man space, or and I think that's how some people, you can't always get away, or you can't always have that time alone, but you have that 20 minutes where you walk in there, and it just gives you that little boost of not saying that what we're doing is bad. I guess I want to premise this, that like, I think it's really like what we're doing and what I'm doing. I love being a family guy. I love it. But I just think, having little snippets and like bringing yourself out at times is good.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And yeah, I just wanted to sort of say, like, we're sort of talking, and as I was talking, I'm like, am I sounding like I don't want to be doing what I'm doing? I 100%, million percent, whatever, want to be doing what I'm doing. But I think for me to do that at my optimal, at my best, is I need to have, certain things that make me get to that level, if that makes sense, that sort of inject me in with a little bit of whatever it might be.
This time away will make you a better husband and father.
Yeah, I think so. And I think and I said the word guilt, I'll just use it again for lack of better words, but I think the guilt you feel is normal. Like, I think it's, you're missing your family.
Yeah,
like, I think
that shows you care.
And that's right. You give two hoots. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Jarad, I'm glad that you raised the man cave. I think they're great, but that's also very similar to what we were talking about earlier about the cost. Like, not everyone can have a man cave, and that is, and I'm using air quotes here, that's selfish as well. Like, if you've got, say, a 2-bedroom house, and you've got, your whole family, imagine using one of those bedrooms for your man cave and making the kids sleep in the shed or something. Yeah, that wouldn't be acceptable.
Right.
But there's a cost to everything. And as someone once said to me, money makes a lot of problems go away. And it does. If you can afford a man cave, if you can afford takeaway for all those nights that you're away with your mates so that your partner doesn't have to cook, then yeah, by all means go for it. It's, there's no one feels that as much. Whereas in my case, where, we don't have a lot of money, for me to go, I'm going to go for a cruise with my mates or something, and I'm going to drop several $1,000s on just me, that just would not be acceptable. And that would actually be selfish. Whereas for us, I think proportionally speaking, the way we have our catch-ups at Club Parramatta, that exotic place, which I must say have an excellent Luxor.
They do.
They've got an excellent Luxor. But to me, that's a perfect catch-up. And that really hits all the spots for me because, one, it doesn't take too much time out of the day. It's just down the road. It's half an hour drive from where I am. It's just one night every 3 months. We probably catch up now with our other friends.
Yep.
We get to watch the footy together. We all catch up, and it's great for our mental health. And we don't spend a lot of money. It's really, really affordable. Parking's free if you remember to get your parking validated, which you should.
Yes.
So to me, that's great. But proportionally speaking, like, that's probably my limit. I can't do a lot more than that. If you said, all right, guys, we're going out to $100 buffet, I'd be,
it's
not going to work for me. Yeah. I'll just have some water.
Yeah. Look, it's all in. It is all in what I suppose it's not exceeding. As a part of the family unit, that what you can, spend when it comes to financial and time. When it comes to time, what sort of time you can spend away. As long as it's all in that sort of scope, then I think it's healthy.
Yeah. But the key here is it's all about our health, and it's making sure that we're doing things that meet our needs as well. We love family time. There's nothing more rewarding, in my opinion. There's no one I prefer to spend time with more than my own family. However, we are all individual, and it's important to hold on to that identity and to understand, what it is that makes us who we are. And a lot of that is individual stuff. And like I said, for me, it's jiu-jitsu at the moment. On Fridays, I do kind of longish hours, and I feel selfish at the end of the day to go, hey, do you mind if I just swing by jiu-jitsu at the end of the night? And then I'm away for another hour.
Yeah.
because I want to roll around with some guys and sweat.
Yeah.
It sounds
Yeah.
a little bit selfish, but it's really good for me. I love doing it. I also contribute to another community as well because it's important
Yeah.
to be there at jiu-jitsu and to help other people. Last night there was a guy who's a lot older than me, and he's just learning, and there were only three of us in the class, and I said, let's help him. Like let's because
Yeah.
the coach asked us, what do you want to do? And I said, let's work on his game
Mm.
because I think that's important to give to other people. So I get a lot out of it, and I come home in a great mood, and it makes me a better father and partner.
Yep. Yeah. No, I think we're sort of on the same, we're on the same page, and it's one of those things that we can discuss quite thoroughly and probably for hours, I think, because, we've all had those moments where, you're sort of, oh, geez, I've gone too far here. I should be at home, or, oh, I need that time. Like we all are balancing that through the life that we're living. And I think it's just a matter of like, if I'm going on a brocation, right? But if like it's literally like one night,
Yeah.
and we're on the road for 6 hours over the 2 days. So it's,
Yeah.
like it's pretty much there and back. We're
Yeah.
just staying because it's unsafe to drive home again, really.
Yeah.
So, but if that brocation turns into, 7 nights and it affects the family functioning and affects your children, affects your wife, affects your relationship, like that's when maybe, you need to have a look at, I would have a look at myself and go,
Yeah.
oh, have I gone too far?
Yeah.
And it's, I guess, realizing that. And I think that's when our little bells go off in our head of like, okay, I'm missing my family. It's time to go home.
Yeah.
Listening to your gut, listening to what feels right. And we all have that moral compass. And I think it's just, thinking about where we should be, and not whatever that activity is doesn't eat into the ability to be a good dad and a good husband.
Exactly, Jarad. Now I'm going to ask you what everyone else is thinking. What's in Canberra?
Well, I'm going to reveal another part of my life that. So I'm a little bit of a collectible. I call it a nerd addiction. So I do like to go and look at. And speaking of like keeping our old identity, I do like to go look at like, the old toys that we used to play with as kids, collectible stuff, sports cards, die-cast cars. Like I don't actually buy much, to be honest. I just like the being around it, the energy in there. Like I just think it, brings back a lot of memories, childhood memories, and so I do have a mate where we go, where we sort of, we frequent the, as I call them, the nerd shows. And, there's music collectible ones we go to. There's, like I said, toys and sports cards and cars and things like that. It's just, honestly, it's just, it's a little bit of a, early morning. Sometimes we just get up and, Sunday there's a show on in Hurstville, or there's this, but there's a couple of good shops in Canberra. So we've been sort of talking about it for a while, and we just thought we'd go. And I think there's a footy game. He goes for the Broncos, so there's a footy game on that night. So we're just going to go to the pub and watch the footy game, and probably crash because we're all in mid-40s and we'll be asleep by 8:30. But so just my little nerd addiction.
Jarad, that is so beautiful and wholesome. It's for all of our fans who love you. I think they love you even more now.
You reckon?
Good stuff, Jarad.
I think the 20-year-old me would be probably going, why aren't you going out there for a big drink and like no, we're just going to look at old stuff.
This is the stuff that matters. Good on you, Jarad. That's really beautiful. I'm glad you're doing that. Thanks so much for the chat, Jarad. We've gotten 2 weeks in a row, so let's hope that we can get a third. That would be amazing.
Patrick.
To all our listeners, thank you so much for joining us again. We love connecting with you. Please get in contact with us. Give us some feedback if you'd like, and share it with anyone that you think might enjoy it. Until next time, thanks, Jarad.
Thanks, mate. See you later.